Good evening. It's good to see everybody this Wednesday night. Recently, I was remembering back to one of the sermons Brother Jesse presented towards the beginning of the year, and he shared a statistic or two, and I think it was something like 30% of Americans make New Year's resolutions, and maybe by the end of the year, only 10% have attempted to keep them. I wonder sometimes, is it actually higher? Is there a reason not to admit that you've made a New Year's resolution? And I think there's maybe one uncomfortable question that would lead to someone not admitting they made a resolution. And maybe that's, well, how are you doing with that? It's a lot easier to just say I didn't have one than to say, well, I gave up, or I failed, I didn't make it. And so tonight I'm going to ask the uncomfortable question. How are you doing with your New Year's resolutions? If you made any to begin with, I suppose. I have this, not an app, but a website pulled up on my phone right here. It's called percentageofyear.com. And every second, it updates exactly how many or what percent of the way through the year we are with 8 significant figures. And we're right at 32 and a half. And you might have guessed a third. We're right towards the end of April. But if you have any goals that are quantifiable and you can measure it, are you a third of the way to your goal? If you wanted to cut down your mile time, have you cut down a third that you wanted to cut down? What about spiritual goals? Did we set any spiritual New Year's resolutions? Or did we only think about physical things? And we certainly don't want to let our spiritual goals and resolutions fall by the wayside. It may be a third of the way through the year, but you have another 2/3. Even if you're behind, you could probably catch up. Over in Ephesians chapter 5, verses 15 and 16, Paul writes, "Therefore be careful how you walk, not as unwise men, but as wise, making the most of your time because the days are evil." So are you progressing as a Christian? Are you making the most of your time? Are you setting goals and trying to meet them so that you can mature and grow into the fullness of the body of Christ? Do you have anything that's biting at you or hanging on to your ankle that's slowing you down, that's keeping you from that goal? Of course, we're here now. Everybody's happy to help and pray for you to achieve your spiritual goals. But if you didn't set them to begin with, or maybe if you're not a Christian to begin with and you need to set a resolution, shockingly, New Year's resolution is not one word. You can make a resolution anytime. If you didn't make a resolution at the beginning of the year, don't wait until next year. That's losing 8 months. You can make one now. You can determine to grow spiritually, to become more like Christ every day now. Over in Hebrews, the author writes in Hebrews chapter 3, verse 13, "But encourage one another day after day, as long as it is still called today, so that none of you will be hardened by the deceitfulness of sin." Make that resolution today to grow. Over in chapter 4, verse 7, the author writes, "He again fixes a certain day today, saying through David, after so long a time, just as been said before, today if you hear his voice, do not harden your hearts." And so if you need help in any way to ensure that you're growing spiritually, if you have not chosen, if you have not resolved to follow Jesus, to be a believer, to be a faithful child, make that resolution today. There's no need to wait another 8 months for next year to make a New Year's resolution. If you have any need at this time, feel free to come forward as we stand, as we sing.